Thank you for joining us on the RP Experience. I'm your host, Andrew Regenhard. Today we have Joe Nugent, one of our preferred partners. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really glad to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. So Joe is with Joe the Home Pro, obviously, which focuses on inspecting and protecting current homes in the area. Joe's dedication and commitment are reflected in their in-depth training, certification, and quality of service that his company delivers. Joe the Home Pro quality home inspecting is done at the highest standard and is a member of the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors. They are certified for all the areas of the home and property, and they use the latest software and technology to ensure that their clients have peace of mind before moving in. So, welcome to the podcast. We're excited to hear a little bit more about your journey, and kind of how you got into inspection and into the real estate realm.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm glad that you mentioned about the certifications because we have people all the time go, "Are you certified?"
Yeah.
No, we just thought it'd be fun to do this out of the trunk of our car.
Yeah. I mean, I make sure the screws are there and that's tight. The oven works, water works. Yeah. I had this funny thing in college. Like the guys would be like, "Is your car good to go?" It's like, well, air's in the tire and gas is in the tank, should be good to go. It's like there's so much more, right?
Yeah, a few things more.
Yeah. So, well, good. Well, Joe, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Sure. So, I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, which was awesome. Went to school up there and all through high school and everything, and then moved down to Cincinnati and went to Xavier University, who are playing the NCAA tournament starting Friday, which is pretty exciting. But anyways, went there for a degree in communications and met somebody, and we ended up getting married, and we lived there for like 12 years. And then we had our first child, and first child unfortunately had still has some health challenges. So we decided like, hey, let's move down to Naples and like where her whole family is. That way we can get some extra help and things like that.
For sure.
And I was working in the hotel industry, and I had this amazing hospitality job, like just awesome job. I had 34 hotels in a bunch of states that I was consulting with and working with. And I was like, okay, we're going to move, but the only way we're doing it is with this job, because I was like, great money, great bennies, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we moved down here. It's now been 11 years this year that we've been down here and everything. And then we had another child, and unfortunately life happened, and we ended up, we're not together anymore. We have a great co-parenting relationship. So my two kids are here, and we live like 6 buildings apart from each other in Victoria Park. So
nice.
it's about as good as you can get for having like divorced couples. Right?
Yeah.
But anyway, so I've been down here for a while now, so it's been awesome.
That's awesome. Well, welcome. Obviously I'm not from down here, and it's kind of interesting the whys, and what brings people down here. Everyone thinks it's weather. Everyone thinks they're coming to retire or whatever. There's a lot of different reasons that bring people to Florida. And it really is a melting pot.
It is. What's really funny too is that my grandparents had a condo on the south end of Fort Myers Beach. So I would come down here twice a year, 3 times a year maybe, and I would go to Fort Myers Beach. So it was funny that I was going to Fort Myers Beach for all these years since I was born. And then I ended up marrying somebody, and her whole family is in Naples, and I moved to Naples. And so, and again, like with what just happened with Ian, it's like really sad because I feel like Fort Myers Beach is my beach.
Yeah.
It's like I kind of like grew up there in a way.
Going there. Yeah, for sure.
So it's just kind of sad.
It's like the old playground we all played up, grew up playing in, and you're like, and now it's like gone, or it's not, and you're like, what happened? That was mine.
Exactly.
Well, good. Well, obviously down here you're involved in home inspection. So tell us about that journey from, being in the hotel and that industry, hospitality, because a lot of people, they hate it. Like I hear them, they're like, I hated the hospitality. And you said, I loved it, right? I had a great job and everything. So if you loved it, why the switch?
So great question. So I've talked about this a few times, but July of 2013, I'm working for the world's largest hotel company at the time as a regional sales director, traveling. I'm on 4 planes a week, just living like this great life. Well, life happened, and I lost my job unexpectedly. So we had just built a house in North Naples, back when you could afford to build a home in North Naples for under 17 million,
right?
And which was great. So we had 2 kids at the time, right? We still have 2 kids, but we had 2 kids at the time. They were like 4 and 1. And I'll never forget it. I like come home and I'm like, lost my job. like this really sucks. Like, what the hell am I going to do?
Right.
And I always had an entrepreneurial spirit about me. And so luckily through my networking, in 8 days, I had another job as director of sales and marketing for a huge hotel down here in Fort Myers. But that was when I decided I'm done having other people pull the strings on whether or not I have a job.
Right.
So this is funny. June 16th of 2000, I start my hospitality career. June 16th of 2020, that was my last day. So 20 years to the day I spent in that hospitality field, right? And in that time, I had like some really great times, but I had some horrendous times.
Right.
Like hotel like got sold, hotel closed,
Yeah.
bankruptcy, all these like crazy things. I'm going, this is insane, right? So I kind of had like that melting pot of those
Right.
ups and downs and ebbs and flows of life, but it was really losing that job. And so my wife at the time, her and I are sitting on the couch and we're watching HGTV, right? Like any like good married couple does. And there's this guy, Mike Holmes, and he has a show called Holmes on Homes. And he's a home inspector. And I'm watching this show and I'm going, I could totally do this. Like, I'm handy-ish. Like, I know a little about homes. Like, this is like right up my alley, right? And my wife at the time, she's like, do you remember when you tried to redo the bathroom and how that worked? And I was like,
Wow, called you out.
okay, there's that.
Don't talk about that.
Yeah. So I started looking into it. And the more I looked into home inspection, the more I'm like, okay, this is really something for me.
Right.
And it's insane. Like, and we joked earlier about the certifications and stuff. It's 120 hours of online classwork you have to take. Then I had to go up to Tampa for an entire weekend to do 40 hours up there. I've done another 200 hours of continuing ed, and you have to pass 2 tests to get your certification. It's like no joke to become a home inspector.
Mm-hmm.
So when people ask the question, like, oh, are you really certified? Like, yes.
Yeah.
I have about 4 million things of schooling to back me
Right.
up on this, right?
Here, let me get, you know, they whip out like a sheet and it like folds down, right? That's what you're going to do with my certification. Like,
Yeah.
I have it. It's like folds out and it's like all the way down to the ground.
Yeah, it's like the Dead Sea Scrolls. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like, it just
Yeah.
keeps going.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, so that's kind of like how it happened. But, you know, it's interesting because I do love my hospitality background, and that hospitality background set me up perfectly to own a service-based business.
So all you did was deal with people.
That's all you did, right? Dealt with people, dealt with clients, dealt with how do you make everyone happy? What do you need to do to go above and beyond? Those principles absolutely carry through to my home inspection company. And what I've then been able to do is create company pillars to where that permeates throughout my entire team.
I'm going to interrupt for a second because what you just said, if people didn't hear that, is so critical. I run a marketing company, right? I'm a publisher. You're a home inspector. A realtor is a salesperson for homes, a broker. But guess what? We all do the same thing. We just service people. It doesn't matter the really industry. I mean, there's obviously unique ones. My past aviation one, didn't deal with people. I flew the plane, right? There's certain things, you know, that you don't deal with people, but most entrepreneurs, most business owners, most industries, is just how do you deal with people? And that is so critical. I mean, all my business, your business, a realtor's business, doesn't matter. They're just vehicles, right? It's how you drive that vehicle, right? Some vehicles are faster than others.
Yeah.
Real estate in the last couple of years, but nevertheless, right? Like, you know, it's just vehicles, right? And so it's how you deal with people and how you want to be treated, and that's how you should treat others. So anyways, that was a huge thing that obviously I realized later, but obviously you've already realized it, and that's powerful. That's good
Absolutely. And it's true. It doesn't matter what industry it is. It's all the same.
Mm-hmm.
So you think about Southwest Florida, like in Ohio, it was like, hey, I need a plumber. I need an electrician. I need this. It was never like, that's how it was. Down here, it's, I need a good electrician. I need a good plumber. I need a good AC person because there's so many bad ones. So for me, it's like that service.
Why do you think that?
Because I don't think that the culture down here and in Southwest Florida and really Southeast Florida, I don't think it lends itself to it. I think we're going to take advantage of a lot of old people.
Agreed.
Very sadly.
Agreed. I was hoping you'd say that.
Just my opinion, but
I completely agree. There's so many people that, you know, they say, oh, the Naples tax, the whatever. You're looking at that home and you're going, that is 15 to 20 or more times the value of my home. They must have a lot of money, which in reality, most of the time it's, no, that person was extremely frugal. That person extremely savvy with money. That individual understands what a dollar's worth. Right. And now you're going to try to go in and gouge them, or you're going to try to pull one over on them. You are in for a rude awakening. And that's the problem, is there's so many people that come down here and they try to do that. And it's like, that's not what this area is about.
And that's a lot of reason why I got into what I'm doing. I mean, it was like, you see like these holes and these gaps, and same thing, like, you know, up until last year, I had a home watch company that I just recently sold. And that was exactly why I got into home watch, was for that. But it's
You drove around on a golf cart?
Yeah. Just drove around and looked at, it looks good. Okay.
Good. Take the picture while you're still moving. Go to the next one. Take the picture. Send them over. Good job. Charge you guys.
That'll be $100. Thanks.
Yep. Exactly.
But it's funny because our number one company pillar is relentless service. And that's exactly why, because no matter what we do, we are a customer centric company. We're also a family first company, and we're a God company, and we're a faithful company, but we are going to be customer centric. And I think one of the issues I have with service-based businesses, and you've seen it a lot with a lot of bigger companies, is they just want to get more people. They want to grow their service area. They want to amass more money, and they forget why they started. They forget the service component. So I have been saying for the last several years, I am determined to break the mold and show people that you can grow and scale a service-based business without losing the service. And that is like that will be my legacy. Like, besides having awesome kids, right? Because my kids are great. But from a professional legacy, that is going to be it. Wow. Right. Joe the Home Pro was able to grow and scale and move into all these different areas, and they never lost their service.
Yeah, never sacrifices the service.
I never will. And listen, there's been a lot of people that want to come work for me, and I'm like, appreciate it, but they're not the right team member.
Right.
I know that because they're good at what they do, but they don't know how to talk to a client. And in this business, home inspection, it's like the inspection side is 60, 70% of it.
Right.
But the rest of it is all in how you talk to the client. It's all in how you deliver that news.
Wow, that is powerful, in case people are not realizing. But delivering the news, explain that more, because that's what, unfortunately, a lot of realtors say makes or breaks these deals. Right. It makes or break if they're going to use an inspector again and different things like that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you or someone else inspects a home. If all of that data, which should be exactly the same and usually is, if that's all given and then someone makes it all uniform, let's say, so it's non-biased and it's all set in the same way, let's say like through a text or like through a non-personable thing, it's all going to read the same stuff, right? So from a real estate professional standpoint, it was how that knowledge of information or the report was delivered to the two recipients. And that's obviously what you're talking about, you know, and that's what comes down to is how someone's going to react, which is then, let's be real here, it's residential real estate. It's all emotions, right? That's what's either going to explode and ruin a deal, or that's what's going to be like, oh, that's nothing. We'll fix that, right? Like, it's a mentality thing. It's how it's delivered. It's that service, right?
Yeah, 100%. So that's where like that hospitality background really comes in handy, because when I was taking my training, my trainer was like, you're going to blow these guys out of the water. And I was like, what are you talking about? They have like these construction backgrounds. He goes, nah. He goes, they don't know how to talk to people.
Right.
Because they don't know how to talk in layman's terms. They don't know how to be down to earth. They have no personality, no sales skills. You have all that. So that's really translated well, because it's like, okay, you go up on a roof and you're like, okay, we got 7 broken tiles. It's going to be okay. $75 a tile. Like, we don't need to, you don't need to tear it down and rebuild. Like a GFCI doesn't work. Okay. $12 at Home Depot. Next. Like, it's all in how you deliver that, right? It's like, hey, and we tell
my GFIC D4000 doesn't work.
I know.
Like, deal breaker, you know?
Exactly.
Like, it's literally $10.
But it's all in like and we set that expectation up front with the client by going, hey, no home is perfect. Everything can be fixed.
Yeah, for sure. And layman's terms, that's what's so critical, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. Most people down here, it is their usually second or third home. Right. Yeah. It's multiple homes. So they should be pretty aware of it. They should have gone through this process a couple times, maybe even 10 more. But you have to break it down so that we can understand, because we are not in your field, right? I go to let's say my financial advisor. and they try to APR and this and that, and or my CPR, whatever it might be, and I'm like, hold up, what did you just say, right? And it like, I want to use the person I understand, right? And same thing for you too, right? And the people are like, I don't know what you're talking about. Right. It's like, can you tell me in real English?
Yeah.
What's going on?
And I tell it to my inspectors. I'm like, if I see on your report you're using like some fancy language, no, we're gonna we dumb it down, not for the client. We dumb it down so it's like, let's talk easy. We don't need to be talking up at the.
You should see if they'll let you write the inspection for dummies. Right? Because then that would be great. You could like dumb down the stuff and be like, this is what you need to say.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be perfect at that.
So what do you appreciate most about Naples then? Because obviously it's a beautiful area. There's a lot of opportunity, but what do you appreciate most about down here?
All right. So two things. Well, maybe more than two things, but a couple big things come to mind. First of all, because I have two kids, the school systems are absolutely fantastic. So I really appreciate the fact that we have great schools, because I think my kids are getting just an A+ education.
Yeah.
From a personal standpoint, I love the fact that there's like no chain restaurants here. I'm a big foodie, and I love to go out for really nice dinners. That's like my reward for working hard. It's like, let's go and blow some money and go have a really nice dinner and a bottle of wine. So I love that about Naples. And I also think too, like going back to kind of what we talked about from a service perspective, it's not that hard to make money down here. If you show up on time, you charge a fair price, you say what you're going to do, and you deliver on that, you're going to be referred out like crazy. Yeah. So I love that. I think my business in other parts of the country would take probably twice as long to build where I am today, just because you have so many people like us, right, that think and act like us and run a company like us. But down
Joe, I can't agree with you more, and I'm probably going to sound like a broken record, because I've definitely said this on the podcast probably multiple times, but people always ask, they say, what do you like about Naples, different things, and I actually say that exact thing. I say there's so much market share to take advantage down here. Yeah. And a lot of the millennials and different people, Gen X's, whatever, they're going to the Austin, they're going to the LAs and the whatever, they're going to the big cities, they're going to the techie areas and whatnot. But the thing is, everyone's going to those, right? And so they want to be surrounded with their peers, right? They want their friends and different things. They want the scene, right? Yeah. But they don't realize everyone is in the growth stage at that point. Everyone's in their 20s, 30s trying to make something out of themselves. So you're competing all with each other, and it's a huge area of competition. Not down here. Yeah. It's all what everyone says, old people. It's actually not. There's a lot of young entrepreneurs, and there's a lot of young people. But what people think is it's a bunch of old people. And there is a lot of old people, but they support our economy, right? They are the ones that are out helping support our economy, and they're taking nothing back. They're not doing inspections, right? They're not out doing that, but they still need you, right? So it's great that they're supporting it, but obviously not taking any market share. That just leaves more to an individual. And then what you had said about being on time and all that kind of stuff, the credibility and the service, huge, right? Huge, because so many people let that slack and let that fall. Obviously, you were in the hospitality industry first, and when you got laid off, you made that decision that you wanted to become an entrepreneur, and you didn't want a boss, right? Which is a risk in itself. But throughout your career of being an entrepreneur, what is the biggest risk you've ever taken in business?
So I would say probably a year and a half ago when I brought on my first team member. So I had a very limited mindset belief that I'm like, I can just do it all. I'll just make like $200,000, live like this great life. And then COVID happens, the housing market goes ballistic, and, I'm working like 7, 8, 9, 12 days a week, it feels like at some points. So that was really, really tough for me, because I knew that bringing on that team member, I knew that he had to make like $75,000. So I was like, okay, if I get him 75 grand, how do I keep getting paid? And how do I keep ensuring that we have enough business to move forward? But it was interesting, because after about 90 days, 120 days of having him here, I started to see the light more. And then I went to Hawaii with my girlfriend in August, and I was gone for 9 days, and the company made like $4,000 while I was gone. And I was like, hold on, there's something here. I can leave. The company can make money. It's no longer a job. It's like an actual company. And then fast forward to by the end of the year, I had another inspector and I added an admin and still adding people. So that would, like, to me, that was a big risk.
Yeah.
And I think you look at a lot of home inspectors, there are a lot of solopreneurs, because they just oh, I'll just do it on my own and that kind of thing.
It's so critical to obviously build your team. Now, you've obviously stated quality is the most important thing. But, at the end of the day, we're all looking to clone ourselves, which clone ourselves, but we can find like-minded people. We can find determined individuals that want to work. We can find those people, right, and allow us to grow. But man, it is scary.
No one's ever going to have the same passion that you do for your own business, right? But you can find people that have really great qualities that you can double down on. And I always say you got to take your strengths and you double, triple down on your strengths. And then you hire for the things that maybe you're not great at. So like our good friend, Jen Kale, I can't do bookkeeping, nor do I have time to do it. But I'm like, guess what? I know an unbelievable expert in bookkeeping.
Yep.
And if Jen is like the savior of
Every
my business.
time. It's constantly like, Jen, here's this. What about this? What? And, doop, 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 doop. And a response time, and it's just like worth every penny.
By the way, Jen uncovered a gigantic, massive hole in my financials just a couple months ago. I was going to be Joe the homeless pro if she wasn't around. Like, so thankful for her.
I love
because
it.
I was like, oh,
Plug to Jen.
That's pretty big. That's pretty right. But like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you bring in those people, and it just strengthens you. And again, when you have more people, like our clients are loving it now.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes I'm up in an attic and I'm like trying to answer a phone call, trying to take an inspection. Well, I can't do that. Now they can just call or text Molly. It's awesome. So again, it all goes back to that client service. Like, what can we deliver from a relentless service perspective that's going to make agents' lives easier? That's what it's all about.
And when you talk about the risk that you took to hire, like at the end of the day, we are in business to make money, but we all work so that we can have money to buy time. And that's what people don't realize. And that's why you try to make a profit so that you can hire someone, so you can get a little bit of time back, right? Because then you can actually further build the business, spend time with family, whatever it might be. But that's the critical thing right there. So some people will never outsource. They're like, no. Like, it's too much money or whatever. And it really isn't. It's just a little bit more. And honestly, it's cheaper to outsource it than your own time, right? Because you're good at something, right? I'm good at relationship building. I'm good at those kind of things, right? I'm not good at video editing. I'm not good at, posting on social media or whatever. Like, I outsource it. You don't want me writing for you. My grammar is terrible. So you find those people that can help you. And at the end of the day, you can focus on the routine tasks that's going to grow your business, right? So critical. All right, Joe, we are getting close to time, but what do you like to do outside of work? You got to have some, you said you obviously a foodie, you love to go fine dining, different things like that. Anything else? What's your kryptonite?
I love to travel.
Okay.
Like, travel is like my number one thing. Like, I absolutely love to travel.
If you go somewhere tomorrow, where would it be?
Italy.
Okay.
Which is on my list for later this year, hopefully.
That's awesome.
I'm trying to get to Italy later this year. But like Italy, Ireland, Australia, there's like top there.
That's on my list. Yeah.
I just got back from Napa. I did my first ever Napa trip because I'm a big wino. And so I met with my girlfriend who has a giant som. She got her license just like for fun.
Oh my God.
And then one of my mentors, he's got like a gigantic wine collection and he's a really good expert. So that was fun to go there.
That's cool.
And go to the French Laundry for dinner and have like this once in a lifetime kind of experience. So love to travel. Obviously I love our beaches. I know they're still kind of coming back from what we just had and everything. But I just enjoy, like, we live in paradise. How fun is it just to be outside 12 months out of the year?
Yep.
I was just up in Ohio visiting my brother and his family, and I'm going, and it was in February, and I'm going, they actually had a really nice February winter. It was like 50, 55 degrees, right? But I'm like, it's like gray and cold like the first day we were there, and snow flurries, and I'm like, nope, I'm good.
I want to go. I want to go back home.
I'm good.
I'm excited to go back home.
Yeah.
Where when I grew up, same thing. I would like travel and it'd be like, oh my gosh, it's amazing, just hot, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
I don't want to go back home. We go somewhere and we're like, can I go back home now? Can I? Joe, we are out of time, man, but holy crap, a lot of wealth of information for people. And I just appreciate you coming on here and joining us on the podcast.
Well, I really appreciate all you're doing for our company, for all the other businesses, all the other agents that are out there. Like, what you guys have put together has been fantastic. So it's just absolutely awesome. So I'm really honored to be here. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. So as always, RP Experience is extremely thrilled to have you on here. We're here at Venture X in the podcast studio. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next episode. See you guys.